Today's lesson is on solving equations with like terms. If you haven't already printed the video guide, go ahead and pause the video, print the video guide, come back, and then do the problems with me. Our last lesson was on what like terms are. Now remember, all like terms have to have the exact same variable. That means the letter has to be the same. So if we have two terms like 3x and 2y, so 3x plus 2y, we cannot combine those because the letters are not the same. Also, if you have something like negative 7x plus 18, you cannot combine those and get 11x because the 7x has the x, the 18 does not. They are not like terms, you cannot add them or subtract them. But if we have something like 10x minus 4x, those you can combine because they have the same letter. So 10x minus 4x is 6x. So you can actually simplify that. So we're going to be using this concept in our problems that we're solving today. So for problem number 1 on the video guide, we have negative 2a plus 6a equals negative 15 plus a minus 8 plus 2. Now, you will notice that on the left-hand side, so we're going to start this out just one side at a time. We're going to start on the left-hand side. On the left-hand side, we have negative 2a and positive 6a. Those are what we call like terms. They have the same letter. So I can go ahead and combine those together. So we don't have to do the opposite. The only time you have to do the opposite is if you're moving from one side to the other. But these are already on the same side, so we're just going to put them together. Negative 2 and positive 6 is positive 4a. So we get 4a equals. And that's simplifying the left-hand side. So that left-hand side is as simple as I can make it. Then we go over to the right-hand side, and we'll notice I have a negative 15, a minus 8, and a positive 2. The a is not a like term because it has a letter. The other three do not have letters, so I can combine the other three terms. So I'm going to put these three together. So negative 15 and minus 8. Now, you can think of this as like a negative 8. Negative 15 and negative 8. When I put those together, I get a negative 23. The signs are the same, so I add them together. Now, I still need to combine that with the positive 2. Here, the signs are different. So if the signs are different, remember we have to subtract. So 23 minus 2 is 21, and you will keep the sign of the bigger number. So it's negative 21. Now, this plus a just comes down. I'm going to go ahead and put the 1 in front. Just helps me remember that there is a 1 there. They just didn't write it. So once we have our equation simplified, now we just go into solving it just like we did with the previous equations that we've solved in other lessons. So that means I need to get my letters together. I've got a 4a and a 1a. I want to move the 1a over to the left side. Remember, anytime you are moving something from one side to the other, you have to do the opposite. The only time you don't have to do the opposite is when they are already on the same side. Okay, so to move 1a to the opposite side, I must do the opposite operation. So the opposite of plus 1a is minus 1a. And again, do that on both sides. We are now moving it, so we're doing the opposite. So 4a and negative 1a is positive 3a. Again, different signs, subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number. After that, these 1a's will cancel, bring down the negative 21. Don't change that, you haven't done anything with it yet. Okay, so just keep it the same. Now, I have my letters on one side, my number on the other. I just need to cancel out this 3. Remember, when a letter and a number are right next to each other, that means multiplication. So the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So we need to divide both sides by 3. 3 divided by 3, that cancels. I get a equals Negative 21 divided by 3 is negative 7. And we're done. That's our solution for number 1. For problem number 2, our equation is negative 14 minus 10b plus 5b equals negative 3b plus 4. Again, just like the first problem, our first step is to simplify this. That way it makes the problem easier to solve. So you're only going to look at the left-hand side. Ignore the right-hand side for right now. Okay, so looking at the left-hand side, we have two like terms, the negative 10b and the 5b. The negative 14 is not a like term because it doesn't have the b. So that will just stay the same, negative 14. But these two I can combine, negative 10, positive 5. The signs are different, so I'm going to subtract, and 10 minus 5 is 5. Don't forget our b. Keep the sign of the bigger number. The 10 is bigger, so this should be negative 5b equals. On the right-hand side, look for any like terms that you can combine. Negative 3b, positive 4. Those are not like terms because this one has a b, this one does not. So we just keep that side the same. If there's nothing to simplify, just rewrite it. Negative 3b plus 4. Once you do that, we need to get the letters together, okay? I have a letter on the left side, I have a letter on the right side. I want them together. So I'm going to cancel out the letter on the right and bring it over to the left. Now remember, when you're moving from one side to another, you have to do the opposite. So the opposite of negative 3b is positive 3b. And again, make sure you do that on both sides. The negative 14 stays the same. Negative 5b and positive 3b is negative 2b equals, these 3b's cancel, and we get 4. At this point, I have to get my numbers together, okay? My b's are all on the left side. My numbers need to be over on the right, so this negative 14 needs to move. Again, because we're canceling it and moving it over to the right-hand side, you have to do the opposite. Going to the opposite side means opposite operation. So instead of negative 14, we're going to do positive 14 or plus 14. They cancel. Negative 2b just comes down. And 4 plus 14 is 18. We're almost finished at this point. Remember, a number and a letter right next to each other means multiplication, so the opposite would be division. So we need to divide both sides by negative 2. They cancel. I get b equals 18, positive 18, divided by negative 2 is negative 9. Remember, for division, as long as the signs are different, it's going to be negative. It doesn't matter which one's bigger or not. So our answer is b equals negative 9 for problem number 2. For problem number 3, our equation is negative 8b plus 3 equals negative 7b plus 2 minus 6. First step is to simplify. Always simplify first. So looking at the left-hand side, negative 8b, positive 3. Those are not like terms. They do not have the same letter. So we're going to rewrite the left-hand side. Don't change anything. So negative 8b plus 3 stays the same. Looking at the right-hand side, negative 7b, positive 2, negative 6. The negative 7b is not a like term, so I'm just going to keep that the same. But the 2 and the negative 6, those are like terms. Neither one has a letter, so that makes them alike. So 2 and negative 6, when I put those together, I get negative 4. Keep the sign of the bigger number. At this point, we're done simplifying, so we start solving. That means we need to cancel out and move to opposite sides. So the first thing that we want to do is get our letters together. Negative 8b, negative 7b. So I'm going to move my negative 7 to the left-hand side. To cancel it, I have to do the opposite. The opposite of negative 7b is positive 7b. So negative 8b and positive 7b, the signs are different, so I'll go ahead and subtract. 8 minus 7 is 1, b. Keep the sign of the bigger number. So it's negative 1b because the 8 is bigger. The plus 3 will just come down, equals, these will cancel, and my minus 4, negative 4, will drop down. So now my letters are together, but my numbers are not. So I have to cancel my number and move it to the right side. That means the 3 needs to be canceled. This is a positive 3, so the opposite of positive 3 is negative 3. So I'm going to put negative 3 on both sides. Positive 3 and negative 3 cancel. Negative 1b just comes down. Negative 4 and negative 3, the signs are the same, so you actually add those. You're going to get negative 7. Keep the sign of that bigger number. We're almost finished at this point. This is negative 1 times b, so the opposite of multiplying is dividing. That last step is almost always division. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 1. They cancel. I get b equals negative 7 divided by negative 1 is positive 7. So positive 7 is the answer for number 3. For problem number 4, the equation is negative 4 plus 10n plus 3n equals negative 20 plus 9n. Again, the first thing you need to do is simplify on both sides, if possible. So we need to combine like terms. Looking at just the left-hand side, ignore the right, look at the left. We have two like terms, the 10n and the 3n. The negative 4 is not alike because it does not have the n. So I'm going to keep my negative 4 the same. Now my 10n and the 3n, I can combine those and I get positive 13n. On the right-hand side, I have negative 20 and positive 9n. Those are not like terms. They don't have the same letter, so I'm just going to rewrite this side of the problem. Now, I can start solving. I need to get all of my letters together. I have a 13n and a 9n. I need them on the same side. So I'm going to cancel out the 9n and bring it over to the left side. To cancel it, this is a positive 9n, so the opposite would be negative 9n on both sides. The negative 4 stays the same. 13n and negative 9n, the signs are different. I subtract. Keep the sign of the bigger number, so it's positive 4n. On the right-hand side, the negative 20 has not been touched, so I just keep that the same, negative 20, and then cancel out the 9n's. So my my letters are together on the left side. I need my numbers to be together on the right side. So I need to cancel out this negative 4. To cancel out negative 4, just do the opposite. Positive 4 on both sides. So they cancel. I get 4n equals, the signs are different, negative 20, positive 4. So that means I will subtract. 20 minus 4 is 16. Keep the sign of the bigger number, negative 16. And then our last step, this is 4 times n, so like I said before, almost always division. So we're going to have to divide by 4 on both sides. Divided by 4. So they cancel. We get n equals negative 16 divided by positive 4. The signs are different. So my answer is going to be negative, and 16 divided by 4 is 4. So n equals negative 4 is our answer for number 4. At this time, go ahead and pause the video, work on problem number 5, and then come back and check your work. For problem number 5, the equation is 9x minus 8 plus 3x equals 7 plus 5x plus 9 plus 4x. So the first thing we need to do is make this problem a little simpler to solve and combine the like terms. So 9x and 3x are like terms. I put them together to get 12x. The minus 8 stays the same because it's not alike. It didn't have an x. Over on the right-hand side, the 7 and the 9 are like terms, so I combine those to get positive 16. But I also had the 5x and the 4x being like terms. They both have the letter x, so I combine those at the same time. Might as well. 5x plus 4x is 9x. Once we've simplified, then I need to get my letters together, and I always move them to the left side. So to cancel out a positive 9x, I have to do negative 9x, subtract 9x. That's 12 minus 9 is how I got 3x. The minus 8 stays the same, equals 16. After that, I want my numbers to be on the right side, so I canceled out the minus 8 by adding 8, positive 8, on both sides. The 8's canceled, I was left with 3x equals 16 and 8 is 24. And then that last step is division. Divide both sides by 3. You get x equals positive 8 for the solution for number 5. And that's the end of our lesson on solving equations with like terms.